All right, all throats are cleared.
Good, thank you.
That could be taken so wrong. But here we go.
Anything.
You're watching live. JP is not hooked up. He's actually talking.
No.
He's talking so much, and we're not getting it on camera.
I'm working on it.
Not on camera, on microphone. Oh my God, he's probably going to stop by the time we get him hooked in, and he stopped.
Is he there? Hello?
I think I hear you. What is that, a Mrs. Doubtfire there?
It was a drive-by fruiting. Run-by fruiting.
Can anyone hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
Yes, we can hear you. All right, so welcome to this week's podcast where we are going over The Walking Dead. What was that, episode 12?
Who cares?
Well,
no,
episode
I'm just kidding.
12?
That sounds about right. Well, no.
I actually wrote it down, and it's not here on my memos. What the hell? I mean, like, all of my points that I wrote are there, but the actual, I had put, like, labeled the, I might have done that on my tablet, because I did switch to my laptop.
I was literally just looking at it, too. But a lot of times I just take your word for it.
Well, we're like 4 out from the mid-season premiere. Is that right?
Well, this is like the third week back, right? No, fourth. This is the fourth week.
Okay,
back.
Yeah, it was episode 12.
And what was it called?
Please, yes, or yes, please.
Yes, please.
It was
check. Yes.
This episode should have been called "Sexy Time"
or "No, thank you"
in the back of the van. I mean, all right. So it's like I wrote down in my
time in the back of the van.
I wrote down in my first note, like, keeping watch. Is that a new term for sex? You know, was it Michonne or was like, thanks for keeping watch last night? You know, Rick's like, it's no problem. Is that like something sexual that they just didn't want to, you know?
He's a very selfless lover.
Because he's got two kids, so I'm sure he's having to use code words for sexual acts. You know,
I'm using that from now on.
Thanks for mounting the wall last night.
I'm going to text someone, so you want to keep watch later?
Thanks for destroying that walker last night.
Oh.
So, you know.
Won't be walking much longer.
I kept thinking, right, so my dad was watching this with us, and he and I both kept saying it. I was like, they're too happy. It's almost like this is a honeymoon episode. Like, they're in bliss. I hope to God they're not going to kill one of them at the end of this episode.
They fell through a roof.
Which, let's be honest, as slow as The Walking Dead's been, we knew that wasn't going to happen. But, you know.
Oh, wow. Easy.
Authority.
Okay, yeah, man.
Yeah. But I was like, they're too happy. Someone is going to die, and luckily no one died, thank God. But
it was a very, like, when they fell through the roof, and then I did like the moment where you didn't know what was happening, then you hear them laugh, but I was like, oh, why would you? You're not. That's just dumb.
At first, I didn't realize that was them laughing. I thought it was some weird, like, clown villain
set it
lurking.
up.
Yeah, because they've been introducing so many wacky, like, you know, side characters and villains. And
man, I'm not going to try to jump forward too far, but I'm going to say I am completely. With both of you, I wrote down right here enough with the talking, man. Like these garbage kids or the scavengers. Like,
make pretend talking.
Yeah, it's like my dad said. My dad's like, good God, man, they're only like a year or two, you know, a couple years into the apocalypse. People wouldn't have reverted to old speak so quick. I mean, I get that they had to do that with the kingdom because that was the way the comics went and. Comic book fans would have just been rabid if you didn't include King Ezekiel and all of the way he was in the comics. But now you've created these all new characters, which are somewhat loosely based off of some people in the comics. But they, you know, I mean, it just, I'm with you. I'm like, enough with the play pretend talk.
If I was Rick, it would drive me crazy.
It probably do. Well, at this point, Rick, there's really.
What does she say? More soon, something, and you're like, just say. Have us more guns soon, and we'll talk. Then it's like, okay, I get that.
And the sad thing is,
adverbs, you know, you can use
thing is, there are people that would actually, if we had a zombie, there are people that would revert and do that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just play pretend. It's like, dude, there are dead people walking around, and you're playing make believe right now.
Right. I love that how Michonne kept saying we need to go back, and Rick's like, no, we don't. he was loving that sexy time.
At first, I thought he was just wanting to like straight up run off. You know, like let's make a life in this carnival. Yeah.
Oh, and then when they were in there and they found the food, and I was telling you about that earlier, I had to take my I was listening to it with headphones on. When they were eating that ready-to-eat, it was the grossest sound. You hear
I don't like hearing people eat myself. Like the sound of loud chewing just always kind of makes me, you know, just, ugh.
The walkers tearing into that deer wasn't as nasty.
That looked delicious.
I'm going to tell you what.
A good venison.
They are, all right, so Tara is finally, I think, going to tell Rick about Oceanside and get involved, because Tara,
that comes up in the comments later.
She was talking to Rosita, you know, and Rosita's talking about guns. You know, Tara the whole time is just thinking, oh, I know, I know somewhere with guns, but I just don't. You know, I'm with Matt too. I really liked Rosita, and I kind of liked her starting to be badass. But she's really all right. Sasha, now I had gotten to where I wasn't that fond of, and now I'm back to. I'm not going to say like I'm a Sasha super fan, but I mean I kind of like her now. She's more. she knows where she's going. She's more head straight on because she had gotten into that like rut after Bob died and was just all reckless. And they pretty much, I feel, my own opinion, I'm sure someone will dispute it, but I feel like they've taken Rosita and just slid her into Sasha's old role.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Like they just recycled that character and slid Rosita into it. It's like she's off the rails. She's getting reckless. She's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't not like Rosita, but I mean, the way they're going, if she dies, I'm not going to be like, whereas I would have been like, not Rosita a while back. Right. Now I'm just kind of like, I mean, she's headed, she's.
And that's what sucks. Like I just feel like I don't know. It feels like they're setting up Rosita for a death, but at the same time, Sonequa Martin, right? She's got that Star Trek show coming up, so everybody's like, well, she's leaving.
Maybe
right?
they'll take them both out because they did say again, not trying to go too far ahead, but they did say that was a one-way ticket for both of them. So
maybe that's why Michael Chiclet or Cutlet
it's coming back.
Because he's like they're both seeing
right.
him. Ooh.
They're gonna, and it would be cool from a writing standpoint
like
if they
ghost threesome.
It'd be it would be cool from a writing standpoint if they wrote him differently for each character. Like Sasha saw him as one way, and then Rosita saw him as another. Ooh. So like when he's speaking to Sasha, he's much more like the lovey-dovey, like hey there, sexy, or something. Like he used to play with her. With Rosita, maybe she sees him as more the stern military type. Like he was when they were trying to get, cool. That would be cool, and it'd be
some 6 feet under action.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like Nate. In the last few episodes.
They do need to thin it out a little bit with the characters, though. We've got too many characters.
Well, like I said, I'd like Rosita, so don't get it twisted and think I'm saying I want Rosita to die. But I do feel like they're just taking Sasha's role, and they're like,
did you just say you want Rosita to die?
Right.
That's what I heard.
What it'll be taken as.
I'm pretty sure Justin just said he wants Rosita to die. Did you hear that?
I just, so I don't know. I just feel like we've been through this before. We've been through the whole, and it's not like we've had different characters that deal with grief in different ways, but I feel like she's dealing with it exactly like Sasha did. Yeah.
And she's not making any progress either.
No, she just is out. Now, I'll tell you something interesting here was when Rick was beating on that fence, to attract the zombie, did anyone draw like a parallel to like Negan there?
With the bat, I thought about that. Because you had like the
drape and like you could see the zombie shadow walking up and Rick's,
I wanted him to say little pig, like under his breath, little pig.
It feels good when I finally
really
get to say it.
Mama Michonne just looking at him.
He looks at Michonne, he's like, who's the big daddy leader?
Have we ever seen Mama Michonne laugh?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, with Carl. She's laughed quite a bit.
Okay, but she heartily laughed in this one, yeah.
I think really her and Carl's relationship is what really got her to open up. Because when she was with Andrea, she was a lot more serious because pretty much Andrea was sick when we first ran into them, and then she didn't trust the governor. So that whole time span that we had with Michonne was very serious Michonne. And then once she got with Carl and they did their run with like Morgan, remember with Crazy Morgan in season 3? I really think that's when she started opening up, and Carl helped her with that.
Crazy Morgan sounds like a used car salesman. I'm Crazy Morgan at Crazy Morgan's Toyota and Hyundai. I'm
gonna tell you what, when Rosita took that machete and slit that zombie's neck open, I'm gonna assume it was like pus and.
Was that just because the woman, because she couldn't get it, was just too much fat?
Right,
or,
yeah. I'm assuming that was like fat or pus or something. Pus, it was disgusting.
That person probably was like really big and then became a zombie, and then you slowly like shrunk.
I mean, I do like how they're doing that too. I like the progression, the rapid decay of the zombies. But one thing we do need to see, though, they've got to realize is we still do need to see some fresh ones every now and again because people are dying and turning and getting killed. But I do think it's really cool how they're showing times wearing on these zombies. They used to look like people. Now they just look like giant piles of mush, more or less. So it's really cool how they're doing that. The makeup, on this show, makeup in the effects department is just awesome. Except for that deer. That was the fakest deer.
You didn't like the deer?
No.
They should have just used her. They're in Georgia. I'm sure any given place down the road.
No, you know why they have to use computer animated deer? Because it's like I wrote down somewhere. I was like, Scott Gimple or whoever's writing the show does not understand how deer work. I mean, like season 2, which Scott Gimple wasn't writing that, I know. But when Carl approaches the deer and almost touches it, if you ever go hunting, you can be sitting in your tree stand and you think about raising your gun and that deer is like, the hell? Boom, gone. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a domesticated deer, they're usually pretty scary animals.
A domesticated deer has like a suit and tie and a
they have this deer. And I guess with a while without people has made them a little less weary. But I mean, they still have a lot of predators to be weary of. And I mean, in this one, you have a deer just in a field full of zombies, just like, oh man, they're really about to tear those humans a new one. Sir. Grass is great.
Carl's a deer whisperer. You got to give it to him.
Apparently.
Going back to Rosita, can you guys explain what the deal was with her father Gabriel conversation?
I think that was more or less to show you that Father Gabriel's got his head on right.
But I mean, were they trying to say that it was Father Gabriel that made her miss when she took the shot at Negan?
I think it's showing the dissent that she's making, and she's making excuses, and she's trying to deflect to everybody else instead of owning up to her own mistakes.
Because Father Gabriel told her basically, it's not your time to go. We need you. You're important. Yada yada yada. And then she went and did what she did.
Yeah.
And and no, I saw a list and they had Father Gabriel on it, and I mean, he deserved to be on the list, but it was like some of the most hated characters in the show. But I really have started liking him. Like, I like that turnaround because I feel like that's how people function in real life. Is you start one way and you either adapt to the changes or you get left behind. In this case, eaten by zombies. But I really I like that. I like how that was kind of showing
that whole piece of dialogue. That was the one part of this episode I was just like, let's just fast forward.
When we know Rosita is not about that airsoft life. I mean, she found a perfectly good airsoft pistol. And I thought at first when I saw the orange cap, I was like, she could take that off. I mean, because it is illegal to take those off or cover them up in real life. But, in this world, you can't worry about
the laws are very lax.
She could pull that off, and I mean, if nothing else, just keep it to scare someone. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a gun,
or she could find some paint and just paint it black.
And as I was saying that with like when Michonne and Rick were having their little cutesy target practice, I was like, Michonne with a sword is deadly enough. Now Michonne learning to shoot and with a sword, I mean, she might just take Negan's. Were they
really close enough that Rick could have seen her knock down those cups? Because she was looking through the scope. And then it was just, it was small enough to where you could see it. But then Rick was like, yeah, you got him. And she could have easily been like, I hit him. He was like, you did? I believe you.
Coming from someone that shoots a lot, probably. I mean, unless they just had him a crazy, crazy distance away. I mean,
he's always squinting, so his vision's probably
right.
Really good.
Yeah, he's always in like hawk mode.
There's always sweat in his eyes.
Always. It's so salty.
The sun is always. Oh, no. Oh, man.
And I had put right here, laughter is the cure for everything, even falling through a roof. They fall through the roof, and I'm like, because I mean, we kind of.
15 feet, right?
I mean, I imagine it would have been a painful death, but they just pretty much fell right into a pile of MREs.
Oh, is that what they felt? Because I thought that was just like the asbestos and the insulation and shit beneath them.
It was a little bit
you just
of everything.
fell onto like a linoleum or a cement floor.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, man, that was so much fun.
Let's do it again.
Woo! Oh, look, food.
But yeah, and actually I went back to what you were talking about, JP. I had got right under that, I make notes as we go along, and I had put Father Gabriel is telling it like it is. And then I said, I do love the clarity he seemed to have. Like he was confused and scared and lost in the zombie apocalypse.
Some of the best growth on the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And now, they've really taken someone I didn't like and kind of turned him around. Like he's starting to just understand the world around him. Like I said, you either change or you get left behind, and he's starting to adapt. Maybe not as brutally as everyone else, but he's at least, unlike Morgan, which I think Morgan is struggling with it and turning around. But Father Gabriel is just like, hey, I understand now the way the world is, and things have to be done that.
Right. Yeah, and listeners at home, I want to know what you think about Father Gabriel too.
Do you like
and other characters that you think have done good? Like, I don't want to hear about people who, I hate them, because we talk about that all the time. Right. We can't say it. I want to hear the people that you used to not like that have grown.
Right. Who has done a ton of right?
Because Eugene has grown on me, and Father Gabriel has grown
that you now like, and who are the characters that you used to like that you now don't like? Like, who has turned around? Talking about character progression.
Because I couldn't stand Eugene first came on. He was a little piece of shit. Couldn't stand it. But like, I've really grown to really enjoy.
That's kind of how he goes
Eugene.
In the comics too. Yeah. He starts off kind of as just this annoying tag along, but I mean, here lately he's really become a very
I hope so.
valuable part of the group in the comics. But yeah, so I do like that. And like I said, with Morgan, I don't think that he's dumb. I do think he sees the way the world is. I just think he's struggling, because I think it's kind of like a drug addict. I think he feels like if he goes back to his old ways.
And he doesn't have his stick
then
for
he's
support.
not going to be able to control. Right, he doesn't have that stick anymore, so it's like life has no meaning.
Like those little the fidget balls,
that could be
the fidget cubes.
Sometimes we've said this before. Sometimes we give the show way more credit than it deserves for foreshadowing and symbolism. True. Sometimes they do it, good. Sometimes they don't. But maybe that taking of that stick is, the symbolism of, like, that's Eastman. That's the part that kept him grounded. Yeah. Maybe them taking the stick from him is what's going to have him unhinged. He's no longer grounded, we'll say. You know what I'm saying?
Hell, we do give them too much credit.
That stick,
that's good.
Right, like that stick is a representation of everything that keeps him grounded and keeps him focused, all the teachings of Eastman. And now that they've taken that,
What if they do that kind of stuff so then they hear people talk about it, like fans, and then they're like, that's what we were going for.
Totally.
Wait, what did he say?
You didn't even play off of it, though.
He took the stick from Westman. His name was Eastman. That's what I said.
Like, you didn't even play on it. Right, but that's what it meant. I do like what I might be saying it wrong here because I tried to catch it, but I was talking to someone. I like what Father Gabriel told her. Did he say anything is possible as long as your heart's still beating?
That sounds right.
Or either that or anything's possible till your heart stops beating.
I was kind of in and out of that scene.
Yeah. I like that, Mama Michonne is suggesting Rick lead all of them. She's like,
you have to be their savior.
That was their marriage because, she kind of proposed this idea and he was like, together we can do it. And and then they kiss.
Whoa.
That's what
it was a symbology of marriage.
That's what they were saying on The Talking Dead. I can't take. Yeah.
Oh, you watched that?
I did.
I'm just gonna pretend like it doesn't even exist.
And one of the producer ladies was on the couch, and she had a blazer with shoulder pads on,
totally like a Hillary Clinton shoulder.
Is that coming back?
Right? Man, maybe it is, but
that was straight up the night. Man, my mom had a lot of jackets.
Yeah, my mom did too, man.
Pads. I used to put that sucker on and be like, I'm jacked.
Yeah.
Don't worry why I'm wearing a woman's coat that's like 3 times the size of me. No, just a 5-year-old who's really got broad shoulders.
Looks like a linebacker, man. It was very
Maybe she was.
I love it. Chili mac and cheese together. Or as Rick would say, chili mac and cheese together. Come on. So romantic.
Eating this makes me feel like a king.
I had wrote down for the next scene with Tara talking to Judith. I said, wow, Judith is growing. Cute little girl. Yeah. Shane did really good.
That's good. That's good.
And then also, too, word of advice to Tara, perhaps a newborn isn't the best person to take problems of this magnitude to for advice.
Tara's not known for her decision-making
And I was thinking
skills.
that bracelet she gave her, that could be a real choking hazard. One of those little tassels break off.
It's true.
Yeah.
And if that's Shane's baby, then the nose is not nearly big enough. I'm sorry, but the nose should be. You caught it.
All right.
Too bad.
So Rick and Michonne destroying zombies together. Great honeymoon. I mean, wasn't it a very blissfully in love?
It's how they would want to do it.
Right.
I can imagine them be like, "What do you want to do? Destination wedding?
Right.
Where? Carnival." What do you want to do?
A carnival of zombies where we kill them. But yeah, they just like I said, the whole episode was almost just like a blissfully in love. I hope they're not setting us up, because that's what we were scared of when they started dating, was that they were putting them together just because they were going to kill Michonne to try to make it more dramatic, and nobody wants Michonne to go.
And that's what I'm saying about them. They've got too many characters. You can't even fit all the stories into one episode. Like
no
even
one can
Game
do it
of
as masterfully as Game of Thrones.
I was gonna say even Game of Thrones will spend like 5 minutes just to come back to something, but we spend 2 or 3 episodes where they don't even talk about someone.
Yeah.
Like it's been 2 episodes
It's hard
since
to
we
keep
talked
up
about
with
Daryl
sometimes.
or Carol, and well, no, that was like last week. But anyway, no, Daryl was like 2 episodes ago or something.
Yeah.
And then even before that, he was in the cell or whatever, being holed up at the Saviors camp.
Right.
So it's like. We need to thin it out a little bit.
Like I said, I wish they would start doing like we've said, like take a note from Game of Thrones, start taking. And I do understand that they have to produce 16 episodes a season, which Game of Thrones is like 8 or 10, so they got a little bit easier to get everything in and make them all action packed and exciting. But I mean, at the same time, it's just like you've got so much material to go on. I just wish that they would like this episode could have been combined with like the last 2 or 3. And like flash to each of them. Which
they also take breaks in between there. Like it's not like it's one long 16-episode run.
Right.
It's two runs of 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm not a producer or anything, but I just feel like they're getting a little lazy.
Well, you like season 3 Walking Dead, and I'm just saying this, and I could be completely wrong, but I just remember like in season 3. That's when like everyone was really like season 2. It got really popular. So, everyone liked season 1. It kind of had around here more of a cult following. Like a lot of people were liking it, but it wasn't like mainstay per se. By season 2, it had really become like a thing. And season 3, everybody was watching it. Mm-hmm. But season 3, and it ended up like I said, it got Glenn Mazzara fired pretty much. But that's the season where it really took off, and everyone loved it for the same reason they loved Game of Thrones. It was like it's unpredictable. Any character can die, any episode. We don't have to have a finale. We don't have to have even necessarily a build-up. Like you can just have one character that you like poor T-Dog or Lori. Like who would have, like when Lori died, who would have seen Lori die? Like in that episode, I had no idea that episode, not a finale, not a premiere, nothing, that Lori would bite the dust. Mm-hmm. At the end of the episode, I just remember, even though no one liked Lori, at the end of the episode, everyone at the house was just like quiet. You're like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, holy hell. I just don't feel like you have that as much anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, I try to defend the show as much as I can, but I am kind of getting on board with the look. I get what you're trying to do. I get there's a build up, but come on, man. Mm-hmm. Come on. Next season will probably be mostly mind blowing, because that's probably going to be all out war. But I get there's a build up. I just feel like they're kind of dragging. Like they're like, all right, season 8 is going to be amazing. We just have to get there first. You know what I mean? Like they're just hang on, get through this season, and the next one's going to be awesome.
Didn't they say that last season though? Too?
Pretty
Like, I feel like
about the
that's
premiere, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. But them destroying, zombies together was pure magic. And the machine gun zombie, I had wrote down, is that Bub on steroids? Remember Bub, the zombie from It's like him on steroids. This time, instead of a pistol, he's got a machine gun.
Man, I love that scene with them trapped in the car and like the guitar riffs. It reminded me of an episode of like Renegade or something.
Thank God for that sunroof.
Lorenzo Lamas. Yeah, man.
That was
Thank God for that sunroof. Imagine where they would have been without it. I was imagining as they were running through the carnival, I'm like, oh man, this is like a post-zombie land type thing. These rides, they could just jump on the rides and start them up.
Such a funny movie.
Which they didn't look to be in working order, but no, I loved Zombieland.
They got a sequel coming out too.
I don't know why I wrote this. I don't know if it's when they shut the gate or what, but I wrote rides closed. I don't know why. I don't know if the zombies
when
were
he was
trying to
climbing
get in.
up the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, and then it must have been right around that time because then I had put right after that what I'd said earlier. The writers of the show just do not understand how deer function. Like domesticated deer, obviously, any domesticated animal will come up to you, but deer, man,
They're
I'm
from
telling you.
L.A. They probably came out to Georgia, and that's the first time they ever. What in the world is this horse with horns on it?
It's a little puny looking horse.
It's a little tiny horse with
and for some reason, people from LA have really
belly.
thick country accents.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really. Well,
Hey,
that's the first thing you
people
get.
are hicks.
Y'all some rednecks, aren't you?
We're from California.
Where are you from? I'm from California. Okay. Cool, man. Where are you from? I'm from Atlanta. I don't.
I'm from Georgia.
That sounds weird.
Deer do not act that way. The deer had oddly. Never mind. Seeing Michonne. Now I will say this: the episode. All right, watching Michonne sad when she thought Rick was dead. That hit me right in the feels.
So it's good to know that she cares.
Oh man, that really did. Like when Michonne was sad, it made me really sad. Even though we knew as the viewers, like that's obviously not Rick Grimes. That's the deer.
That's what they need.
Seeing her hurt, it made me hurt.
Yeah. That's what they need. Just one good time where they just like, oh, that's not Rick. Holy shit, that was Rick. Did they just eat Rick? What has happened? And at the end of the episode, it's all a nightmare.
Right. But she's such a good actress.
Yeah, or like St. Elsewhere.
Right.
She's right up there.
Newhart.
It was Newhart. Yeah, because he flashed back.
Oh, no, she's right up there with Rick though, because she didn't have to say anything that scene, but she made you feel with her face. She's such a good actress. She
is, man. She has great facial expression.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't say a word, teeth. But yeah, she's got the whitest teeth.
Like no wonder she wanted those mints or mouthwash or whatever, because she has good oral hygiene
and she stays fit too.
That's true.
I can't wait to see her in the Tupac movie.
Yeah, she's playing his mom.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's going to be interesting. Yep.
A Tupac movie. I mean, because that was only logical. I mean, we've had Biggie and we've had NWA.
The Biggie movie was
Johnny
really
Cash.
good. Like
Johnny Cash, because they all that was the next
yeah, they
one
were all
line.
big influences on the hip hop community.
Yeah. What was the one with Bob Dylan? It was like 4 different actors. I'm not here or I'm not there or whatever.
I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, so if it's a Bob Dylan
but dude,
movie, I wouldn't watch it.
It was 4 different actors that played Bob Dylan throughout his life. Like, what was the?
Oh, that's a cool concept.
There's an actress. What's her name? Kate.
I know who you're talking
Emma
about.
Thompson. Some actress played Bob Dylan at one point in his life, and she looked remarkably like him, like 70s or 80s Bob Dylan. It was crazy. Yeah.
Did you notice too after Michonne realized that it wasn't Rick that was being eaten by the zombies when he came out and threw her sword, to which I was like, God, I hope she's not like so zoned out that the sword's like stabs her when he throws it to her. But that was a very triumphant moment when she caught the sword and started going back. Like that was a very Mighty Ducks moment. You know, it's like duh, I just read it from like some 80s or 90s like We Did It music to start playing. And she's just slicing through them. But did you notice when they hugged after all of that? Officer Grimes went straight for that booty. Did you see that?
Oh,
when he was hugging her?
Oh, he was
like, Officer Grimes, let me see those hands.
Yeah, man.
I mean, when you've been with Lori for so long and she was just flat as a freaking board, man, I would be too.
And then on the ride back,
You'd be flat as a board?
I
don't understand that. Instructions unclear.
No, well, she was. She didn't.
She was flat as a board, so you would be too.
But
so I'd be grabbing Michonne's ass
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they. I
am pretty flat. I'm not gonna lie, but
I felt bad for Michonne on the way back.
Yeah,
you could tell she was devastated by the thought of Rick dying. Like I think really what that was though was showing how much it's weighing. Like it just seems like the beginning of the episode was very blissful. They were in love. Everything was happy, and it was almost like it was all a game to them. And I think the ride back, it had set into Michonne like this isn't a game. Like Rick may die, I may die. Like this, at the beginning of the episode was pure bliss. At the end, it was Michonne coming to the realization that this wonderful love, might not last, that this is a terrible world they live in. They're about to go to war, that as much as she does love Rick, she might be losing Rick here soon, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Which leads me to my next question. Do you think, even though obviously if you read comics, spoiler alert, 10 seconds, we'll be done with it, Michonne doesn't die in the comics. She's still alive and well. Yet. Do you think that they would kill her off in the show earlier? Because she's kind of taken Andrea's role in a way. Do you think that because they're just setting them up? Do you think that we would lose Michonne? Because we know they're probably not going to kill Rick in the show anytime soon. But do you think they would kill Michonne? I think
it's the same thing with Daryl. They have such a huge fan base that's all that the producers are thinking about. Is that if we kill this character off, we're going to lose a lot of fans because some people tune in just for Michonne.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, she's, like I said, she's absolutely like in my top two. Like I'm a big Rick fan as well. So Rick and Michonne are,
especially nowadays when you have like a strong. We've talked about it before. When you have a strong female character like that on a show, especially nowadays when you don't find that so often, you're going to keep them as long as possible.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be a terrible decision on their part to.
She's like the strongest of the strong. Like Carol is badass, but Michonne is just like the mother of badass. Yeah,
Michonne's more front and center. Like Michonne doesn't stray. Like she literally knows what she wants. Carol is just all wishy washy. Sometimes she's like this, sometimes she's like this. But Michonne's
a lot more emotionally stable. I think she knows who she is, and is comfortable with what she has to do to survive. Whereas Carol kind of fights with that.
Yeah, Michonne's always been a shark. Carol's like a guppy that turned into a shark, and now she's like,
should I have not turned into a shark? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Michonne's just always been.
Looks like she's coming back next episode though. There's a lot of hacking and slashing, and I think we're going to see the kingdom finally come to blows, we'll say, with Negan's people. It looks like finally Ezekiel's going to realize, hey, I love Ezekiel, by the way. I know he wasn't in this episode, but just from the preview, I am so excited to know that we get to see him again next episode. Like, I really, really like his character. The guy playing him does amazing.
As much as I do hate them playing make-believe with the words, like, he sells it.
Oh, my God.
I think they told it. I think he read it, and he was like, oh, this is ridiculous. People just talking Shakespeare. And what? Okay, so he's going, like, over the top, and it's working.
And he's nailing it. Like, I loved when he's got the gun pointed in the next day, like the next time on The Walking Dead, and he's got the gun pointed talking about how this world makes us mad or whatever, a little monologue he gave. I love Ezekiel.
I wish one time when it was Ezekiel, they'd be like, Jan Morrow upon The Walking Dead.
Jan Morrow. Every time it's an Ezekiel episode, that's what they do. But when Rick was talking about not being able to save Glenn, that was like right in the feels too. It's like, because he's talking about Glenn saved me and I couldn't do anything to save him. Because I wondered if we were going to get to that, if it was just like, oh, the dad moving on, and we're going to actually have time for Rick. Because I did love when he was on top of the RV at the premiere, and he had tears in his eyes thinking about it. But I wanted to hear him talk about Glenn. Glenn was, somewhat. Of course, Daryl kind of jumped up and stole the spotlight. But Glenn was still one of Rick's like right hand people. That was someone that you could tell he just almost had like a father son relationship between the two. So I was hoping we'd get to hear him talk about it a little bit. So that was kind of refreshing. And then my note that I put here was in line with you guys. I said, enough with the talking, man. Jeez, like, we get it.
Yeah.
You're crazy, you're weird, you're different. But, man, look, female David Bowie, just calm down.
That's so funny, dude. Like, oh, yeah.
And then seriously, I had put down when Rosita come up to Sasha, it was like, awkward.
She has to live with that haircut, like outside of the show.
Right.
Man.
Poor lady.
She probably sells it.
Oh, I'm sure. She seems like a delightful woman in real life. I saw a little bit. Yeah, she was on there.
Very
her
beautiful
first.
Too. Yeah.
Did she talk? I bet she would. When they don't make them look all like they've been living in a zombie apocalypse for 2 years, I bet they're all very attractive.
Well, it's like
people.
Carol, man. Carol's. In the first season or two, I didn't think Carol was all that attractive. But like when but like with her hair out and everything, she's actually a very beautiful woman, especially. Like when she's all fixed up and stuff. It just like doesn't even look like the same person. They kind of have to. Some of these people look so good, they have to go through a lot of work to make them look rough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that says something, I guess, about you. It's like when they have to spend extra hard time making you not attractive or not as attractive. But so, yeah, and then now one-way ticket. So that it almost seems as if Sasha and Rosita are both planning. Because, in the comics, a lot of people are thinking Sasha's going to take Holly's death. Which in the comics, again, if you read in the comics, you hadn't got here, spoiler alert, Holly is someone who was basically, Sasha stepped into her role with Abraham because Abraham left Rosita in the comics for Holly. And then once Abraham dies, Holly kind of sacrifices herself and drives like a bus through the gates of the sanctuary, and they capture her. And there's a really cool moment between her and Negan where we establish that Negan does not play with rape. But more or less, she ends up dying. And a lot of people thought Sasha was going to take that. But it almost looks like we might have I really feel like they want us to think Rosita and Sasha will both die, but it will just be Sasha, and it'll just be something else Rosita will feel even more guilty about. Like maybe as they're riding to the gate, Sasha will throw her out or something like that and slam through the gate. I really don't feel like Rosita's going to die just yet. But she's pregnant too, by the way. Congratulations to the actress that plays Rosita. Yeah, she's pregnant.
Good for her.
Yep. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't really think they do writing. I'm not gonna say they don't do writing that
pregnant,
good.
She's definitely gonna die then.
Well, I don't know. Tara was pregnant. She had a baby, and now she's had the baby and gone. Sasha had a baby during the filming of the show. Really? Sasha and Tara.
Oh, that's
both,
right, because they did they would film.
If you watch, I think it's season 5 with Sasha. There's a lot of times where they do. How I Met Your Mother did really great when Lily was pregnant. You don't realize it. It's so subtle, but they pretty much cover their stomach every shot. Like Sasha was wearing this big bag, like Bob's kind of like army jacket, and a lot of scenes you couldn't actually see her belly. So I mean, they could probably cover it up with. And then Christina, how you say it? Sarandos,
Sirianos,
something like that. I mean, she's a tiny girl. She could get bigger, but I mean, I just imagine. My little sister has pretty much like the same size as she is, and she's been pregnant twice now, and basically she just gets a little bit of a belly, doesn't. So I mean, if she does that, it'll be probably pretty easy for them to.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe she knew she was getting ready to get killed off, and so it was like, hey, we can go ahead and have a baby now. I have no.
All right, okay, honey.
All right, hell yeah,
I'm on my way.
But so I'm not gonna say they're not creative enough, but it would be really cool if they both were gonna die for us to see 2 different portrayals of Abraham. Like when he comes to again Sasha, he's all soft and something about damn, you're a fine looking woman or blah 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 blah. And then when he gets to Rosita, he's much more of like come on, get up, you can do this, yada yada yada. I would love to see that. I don't know if they will, but like you said, very 6 Feet Under-ish.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of the show was how they portrayed Nate.
Yep.
Different people saw the way they perceived him. Oh, when he was there. I loved it. God, I love it. We could do a whole other podcast on 6 Feet Under. Like one of my favorite shows ever. I love it. I love it. I still will. I think it's one of the best series finales of any show of all time.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it while it was on HBO?
I did. Okay. I did. Yep.
And I felt like I was, because we're the same age, I felt like I was just too young to get some of the subject matter.
I watched it because, it was very taboo. I know I'm not going to derail too long. I'll get back to when we go to comments.
Oh, no, please go ahead.
But, no, I watched it.
I've got the button ready.
Because it started in 2002, I believe, was when it started.
No
it's
way.
like 2002, 2005.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I wasn't that young.
No, you were. I was saying I wasn't.
I just graduated high school. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was because it was very taboo for the time, man. I mean, it was a lot of things that just were not the norm. But it was HBO. HBO was constantly pushing the envelope. Mm-hmm. But no, I watched it when it came on, and then I didn't watch it for years. Like I watched it on TV, up till it ended. I think I caught it about season 3, and then I just went back and watched reruns. And then here in like the last couple of years, I saw something online with it in there, and it just. I went and I got the season and rewatched it.
Was it 5 seasons?
Great show, yeah, 5 seasons.
That was my first Netflix binge, and I was actually like getting the DVDs through the mail, like they didn't.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because they don't have it on Netflix. Netflix, you had to order the DVDs.
So funny that you mentioned that because I'm going back and reading all the Invincible comics, and Robert Kirkman in one of the back of the issues, like the letters, he's talking about. There's this new thing from Blockbuster. It's called Blockbuster Instant or whatever, and you get Blockbuster movies in the mail. How cool is that? And I went back and it was like, this is 2001 or something, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, if only we could tell Blockbuster now what happened.
I still argue that I missed the Blockbuster experience. Movies are way too overpriced, but I loved like getting some friends together and going over to Blockbuster. But yeah, it was a fun experience.
Yeah,
I would take my friends there, and we'd go try to find the cheesiest horror movies we could, based on like the cover and the back, and like the little slides from the movie. And
let's start.
We just do that on Netflix.
Let's start it back up again.
Blockbuster.
Yeah,
y'all want to start it?
We'll call it Blockbuster.
Busting the block.
There we go. Bust the block.
DVDs and
rolls
game
off
rentals.
the tongue.
Nah, dude, I just want straight VHSs.
I want the adult section in the back corner.
Oh man,
remember that? Remember that?
Do.
Are you 18? Yes, I am. It's like, really?
What about Boob? They had all those great like movie parody ones.
Oh yeah.
I just remember turning 18 and having people going, "Will you go buy pornos for me? I'll give you the money." And you're like, this is really weird. Like I feel awkward handing you this because I know what you're going to do with it later. So, can I just buy you cigarettes or something?
What a strange time.
All right, so heading into the comments section, we start off with, and you did great on these, Matt.
Thank you. Now, and again, I can't, because some people, I try to alternate. Like if you didn't have a comment last week, or if you made a good point, then I try to put it in this week. But then some people, like you got 4 or 5 people that little go along with each other. They all make the same kind of point, just worded differently.
Right.
So I'll just, kind of condense the stuff, pick them all once. So no offense if I missed your comment. I will try to get around to announcing, things. But we have such a really nice, tight-knit community that I usually get around to.
Yeah, and
everybody
if he
usually
doesn't
says
get you,
something
it's
important.
a lot. So if he doesn't get you, he will get you sometime. You're not being ignored. I promise you.
Well, you can't prove that.
So Eliza Jett says, in regards to Rosita talking to Tara about needing weapons, come on, we get it already. It's like a kid could write those parts. Okay, now we need to get Tara to admit about Oceanside. So let's just have a few characters start asking her repeatedly about them, so that way the fans of the show will remember Oceanside has the weapons they need as well. I agree. I mean, I agree.
It's a long
Let's
sentence.
just cut to the chase.
Yep. Michonne Grimes, why do you think Jadis never asked for ammo to go with the guns? I just thought it was applied. I mean, I just thought she just, assumed, like, we'll give you guns. Maybe they have ammo, because that's what she says right here. She was all about the guns, but never mentioned ammo. Do you think maybe they have a lot of ammo, but no weapons? And that could be very true. They could be sitting on I kind of thought it was implied, but they could be sitting on a big stash of ammo.
They could have somebody like Eugene who knows how to machine bullets.
Bullets making, I will.
They got
like a
plenty
bunch
of
of
metal,
Yodas.
so.
Let's see. Also, she says, talking to me about comic Negan 2 years ago down the road, says that, Negan, because my point was, I said, I think they're making Negan a bit too despicable to turn around.
Throwing the doctor in the furnace.
Right. What I'm saying, Michonne, I think what I was saying in the comic is this right here. I see what you're saying, but that's not really what I was saying. What I'm saying is that I know Negan 2 years down the road becomes a good guy. I know he's not going to turn good right now, but my point is that they have to lay the groundwork now, as they did in the comic. He did some despicable stuff, but come on. In the comics, I don't remember hearing about Negan killing kids, because Oceanside said the Saviors lined up every kid 10 years and older and killed them. They describe him beating a 16-year-old to death at the hilltop. He takes pictures of his victims that he bashes their heads in. I don't think he did that in the comics.
Which we don't know exactly.
He didn't,
like,
but his people did.
Like who's getting murdered, possibly by like a lieutenant.
I thought about that. It might not have necessarily been Negan, but and then he's throwing a guy in the furnace. So my thing is, I'm just saying that I hope right now they're not making viewers of the show dislike him so much now that when they do try to turn him around and do good stuff, that it's just too far gone. You know what I mean? That you just despise him by that point. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's a great actor, so he might be able to make you like Negan.
I love it. I love Negan.
He might be able to turn it around. But what I'm saying is, I just hope that now they're not making him so evil that we just will never get behind him in the future. And then we think that Rick is kind of dumb just to throw out there to Jadis that they're looking for people to join a rebellion. I mean, he only just met them, and he's all like, I do agree with you on that, because I thought, how do you know that they're not even
in cahoots
with the
them,
Saviors?
Yeah.
I mean, like, they could be, with the Saviors and run right to Negan and get on his good side. Hey, there's this douchebag named Rick who's getting ready to give us a lot of guns, which we'll give you. And if, so you're right. I do think that was a little, I mean, that's just like walking into walking down the street going, you want to buy some weed? I mean,
some people do that. Some people make a good living that way.
They do. Go to the beach. Let's see. Eliza Jett again says, why would Daryl go back to the hilltop and prepare? Weren't they already not doing that so as to not risk getting Maggie killed this time? He wouldn't do that. Yeah, I thought when he, the whole point was to put him up at the kingdom so that Negan wouldn't find him, because Negan has no idea that they're even in communication with the kingdom. So the last thing he would do would be to come looking for Daryl there, and they don't even come into the kingdom. So Daryl can kind of just walk around freely.
Yeah, Daryl has some really great decision-making skills.
I'm going back.
Dog meat.
You just can't separate him from his boo thing. It's just going to be really awkward when he sees the love between Rick and Michonne. It's like, I'm imagining you hear the song All By Myself playing. Daryl's like waxing his crossbow.
Yeah, I was going to say he's just going to be all alone with his crossbow.
He's like, at least I got you, crossbow.
The thing sets off like happens all the time.
Denis Washington says, do you think AMC will use Eugene as a double agent? It's almost impossible for me to see him standing on the dark side because of his comic story arc. Do you think Sherry will stay gone?
Denis used the term turncoat, and I liked that term, but I put in double agent just to, some people might not know what a turncoat is.
Right. Yeah, I do think that I think Eugene's smart. I think Daryl has too much pride to pretend to be a savior long enough to survive. I think Eugene knows and is comfortable with the fact that he's a coward, so he has zero issue saying, hell yeah, I'm Negan, to keep himself alive. I don't think that he's going to stay
And it's kind of cool he went back to his old backstory he was using with Abraham, like, I'm, Dr. So-and-so with the Human Genome Project.
Yeah. No, I do absolutely think he's going to be double agent. I think that as soon as he has the chance to get back to Rick and them or to do something to help Rick and them, I do believe he'll do it. I don't think that he's going to, I think he's comfortable. I think he enjoys it.
He's basically Clint Eastwood in a fistful of dollars.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, speaking of that comes up a little bit later. That's exciting that you said that.
And do we think Sherry's going to stay gone? No, I do think that she'll come back at some point. Probably will die. Maybe she'll die, and that'll be what convinces Dwight to help.
Rick will be in, or Dwight, Dwight maybe, since she's broken his heart. Dwight will be in some sort of situation where Negan's getting ready to kill him. She'll come out of nowhere, maybe stab him in the shoulder, shoot him in the shoulder, something like that. Then he'll turn around and kill her. And then Dwight will be like, that's it, I'm with them. Yeah. Screw you.
I hope we get to see Double Agent Dwight, though, because Dwight was a kind of like a double agent
Dwight.
in the comics. He played Negan good. Like, he was one of Negan's right-hand men, and the whole time was meeting with Rick and sabotaging. Like, when they have this huge battle that involves, which I really hope they do in the show, it involves throwing a lot of grenades over the walls back and forth. Dwight actually just murders a bunch of his own people to help Rick and them. Yeah. So I really would like to get to see a little Double Agent Dwight, before. So I'm thinking maybe I could see somehow I could see Negan having Sherry killed and Dwight continuing to pretend he doesn't care about her as he did to Negan's face, but we know obviously he does, and that's what will push him to start being Double Agent Dwight. And I hope he gets like a triple D or double D tag. I'm Double D. Double Agent. Yeah, DAD. That's it. Dad.
So I said Dad? Okay.
He was up there like, Dad?
I have father issues.
That's wrong. I'm Double Agent Dwight.
He never taught me how to shoot a gun.
I got the third D there from. I said triple D.
His dad never taught him how to hold a gun.
No kid. We were talking about that last night. I was like, ugh. All right, so Miss PYT785 says, I appreciate them pushing the envelope on the walkers. They've gotten up the fear factor. After 7 years, they've got a good path. I trust that Eugene is playing the game. I hope he holds back some education from Negan to avoid him getting the upper hand. I love that Sherry ran, and I hope we never know what happened to her.
Yeah,
wow,
it's more true to the way life would be in those times.
Right, that's right. That's a perfect follow-up to the last question. I love that. It's more true to the way that life would be in those times. I worry that they'll pop her up sometime. I agree that episodes have to build up. If they blew things up and then develop people and relationships, it would be like Z Nation. The show has heart unlike the others. Yeah, I've tried to watch Z Nation, and no offense to those that do like it. If you like it, keep watching it. Awesome. It's not for me. I got about 4 episodes in. I was like, it's just like they're playing Zombie Apocalypse.
You know that one person in your life when they recommend or tell you things, you're like, okay, well, I definitely know to avoid that because we don't have any of the same tastes. One guy I used to work with would be like Z Nation, like I was talking about Walking Dead. He'd be like, no, Z Nation is where it's at. I was like, what channel is it on? Sci-Fi. Well, that's strike one for you right there. Okay, and then I was like, well, what's it about? And he's like, it's about military people. This one guy's a zombie, but they don't know that he's a zombie, but he's got a cure for it. It's really funny. Okay, there's strike two right there. Right. I doubt it's funny.
Right.
And then I was like, well, when does it come on or something? Like, I don't know. I just watch it whenever I can. I was like, how do you talk such a great game about the show, but you don't even know when it comes on?
They had the Lost guy, the guy from Lost that played Michael was in it, like the first episode, spoiler alert, and then they kill him off, and I was like, all right, well, that was mainly the only reason I was watching it, because he was from Lost, and then he also was in Sons of Anarchy, and so I was like, oh, cool, he's on the show, it's probably gonna be pretty good, and it wasn't. I tried to watch it.
It's definitely more campy than Walking Dead.
It's just like I said, it's like they're playing Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah, they also have a lesser budget than Walking Dead does.
Yeah. KK Bacon said they need a straight-up Clint Eastwood-like character who just doesn't give a damn. We need that guy to just get some weapons and raid Negan's compound and whoop his ass. You know who I feel like they really are pushing that direction is Daryl. Daryl's just getting more. He does care about his friends, but he's just getting more and more like he's dark now. Like, he just doesn't care. I think if he thought he could just roll up in the compound, whip out a 44 and just blow Negan's head off, he would not hesitate, even if it meant killing himself. I just think right now he doesn't feel like he can just, he doesn't.
And this is the kind of show where you can't have a character like an untouchable, heroic character. You can have an untouchable villain for a little while,
right?
But you can't have any good person that's going to get away with anything scot-free. It's just not a feel-good show like that.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely do need one of those characters, but I feel like they are kind of putting Daryl in that direction. He's damaged,
The closest thing we get to feeling good is was Michonne and Rick falling through a roof.
Now, Michonne would definitely be that Clint Eastwood character. I mean, she don't give a damn. Remember the Negan thing,
but she's also smart enough to know that you can't
when she can't do it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if she knew, like I said with Daryl, if she knew she could do it, she'd just roll up in there without batting an eye and just murder everyone.
KK Bacon wants more of an outlaw Josie Wales kind of Clint Eastwood. That's for sure.
Sean Purnell says, "Hey guys, I think Negan was referring to the doctor at the hilltop. Didn't one of you say that they were like brothers or something?
Yeah, they had the same last name, I think. I thought that's what he said.
Let's go back.
It's a good thing we have another doctor or something.
That's kind of what you're talking about, like spacing things out. It's been so far, I can't quite remember.
Right? A couple of people put that.
Jeep says, I think Eugene is just playing Negan, much in the same way he played Abraham and Rosita. So could he essentially hitchhike a ride to Washington? Also, excuse me, I read that all wrong. He thinks that he's playing Negan the same way he did Abraham and Rosita so he could get a ride to Washington. Also, where did Sherry go? And better yet, how did she get out without someone noticing? Did she have help too? I can see how Daryl escaped because he could have been mistaken. I can't read today. Could have been mistaken for Dwight from afar, but Sherry skipping off on her own would have been easily detected. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's a pretty lady, and she's one of Negan's wives, so they probably just, like, when she walks by, avoid eye contact after they saw what happened to the... Well, no, the doctor happened afterwards. Never mind.
I was like, did the doctor have anything to do with...
I'm going to say after... no, that was all planted on Dwight.
Right.
Well, by Dwight. But after seeing what happened to the doctor, I bet now when they see one of his wives, they're going to be like, evening. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The old Westerns, grab the hat, look down, evening, ma'am. And lastly, Cindy Fern says, reply to what Matt said last week. People are surrounded by the constant stench of rotting corpses. I don't think burning flesh would matter much.
That's probably
anymore.
True. But even then,
my grandpa was a firefighter, and he said that when you smell burning flesh, you never forget. Like it never really clears out of your nose. I get what she's saying 100%, but I also get what you're saying. It's like those people are very in close proximity to a burning body that's just sitting there burning. I mean, at least someone would be like, "Ooh." Yeah. But yeah, I feel you. I mean, they are. I mean, because you think about like body odor. I've read, talking about like people in the wild, and I mean, it comes a time where you just get so used to it that you don't even smell it anymore. But I gotta say, man, unless Rick and Michonne are trying to make a baby, I hope they've raided a couple of
that baby would be such a beautiful
shops.
Shade.
Well, I hope they've raided a couple of shops with some condoms. Like my dad was saying, he's like, man, they're having an awful lot of sex. I hope unless they want to have a baby, I hope that they've got some kind of form of birth control. Because I'm sure you can't just go to the pharmacy or the lady doctor,
the lady doctor
in the zombie apocalypse and get birth control.
You go into the grocery store. Did you find any condoms? I found Saran wrap. Close enough.
I mean, Rick's already not with his other daughter that much. I mean, if he has another kid,
that reminds me of Booty Call. Jamie Foxx wrapping himself up in the.
I do. Times. You know what? I do think that they will actually have Michonne and Rick have a baby.
You think so?
Because they didn't do nothing like that in the comics. So I mean, if they want to,
wild.
I don't care.
Right.
Like, weren't we talking about that earlier? We don't care about the romance. I don't really care about the... I mean, I'm glad they're happy, and I understand that's part of the story, but I want more of the interaction and the relationship between Negan and the survivors and zombies and survivors.
Rick and his people.
Right.
And
interactions, but I don't care about, like... I mean, like we said, spend a couple minutes on the romance. That's fine, but don't give me whole episodes on, like, building their relationship.
Right.
Like, this is not that kind of show. I don't come to The Walking Dead for romance.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I come to it to be scared and shocked and be like, what the hell was that?
Right, yeah. And like I said, I agree 100%. When you had the Lori, Rick, and Shane love triangle, you had a few love scenes, you had some stuff on it, but it didn't consume the entire episode. Like, it was a part of it, but it wasn't the focus of the episode. The focus of the episode was, holy shit, we're in the zombie apocalypse, and people are getting eaten by dead people.
See, I do watch The Walking Dead for the romance. Just ever since One Tree Hill went off the air, I need something to fill that void.
Oh, yeah. You know that was filmed in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, Wilmington, right? Yeah.
What was that?
It's really awkward when he brings it up in the gym and we're next to all these muscular guys and JP's
Does he start singing How to Save a Life?
Please just come watch One Tree Hill with me.
That's the intro,
right? It never does, though.
Well, did I go wrong? Yeah, anytime I hear that over there.
I hate that because I love that song.
Really?
I didn't know it was One Tree Hill, so now I'm probably not going to like it.
One Tree Hill. There was this point in that show when everybody, because they were playing high schoolers and they're all in their mid-20s, so between one of the seasons they skip 4 years. Like, they skip all of their college years and just show them. So now they've caught up to their actual age in real life, and they're like, well, we'll just skip college, and here's what happened. And I had a good friend that followed the show, and he would talk to me about it every day.
I had a girlfriend or two that watched the show. I don't think I've ever actually watched much of it.
They played basketball in every episode.
I've heard it was good. I've heard it wasn't a straight up chick show. Like it had something for everyone.
This was back when the WB was
No, JP, I will not come over and watch
yes,
it.
you will.
Please, when we're next to our muscular friends in the gym, I would prefer you just not ask me to come to your house and watch One Tree Hill. And when you suggest lemonade, that just makes it worse.
Well, I've got Bagel Bites too.
Oh, I'm down.
Are they pizza Bagel Bites?
Of course.
Oh no, they're probably just little bitty like bagels that he cut up into squares.
No.
Did you watch the new Flash?
Yeah,
With the Gorilla City thing, and did you see the Accelerated Man? Oh, that's a nice fade out. I like that.
Oh boy.
They have a new speedster. It's from like Earth 19, and he wears like a scarf and like goggles.
Yeah.
Looks really cool.
To find out more, check out our Flash podcast, which actually
We're starting
doesn't
that?
exist. No.
Aww.
But I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we'll be with you again next Monday, unless some crazy Walking Dead news pops up, in which we'll try to get on here and make a podcast for you talking about it. But so yeah, before we leave, what are we rating this episode? Starting with Matt, what do you got?
5.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't into it. Didn't
I
really
hear
care.
ya.
Grief.
I'm going with
JP,
5.
I give it an 8.
Whoa, what?
Are you kidding me?
I love this episode. I thought this was the first episode to really have heart since the Seaside episode.
I
love this one.
The episodes that you love and the episodes you hate, I can never predict. You're like the Game of Thrones.
The reason I said 5 because I thought he was going to go like
Raiders.
6.
No, I really like this
Fine.
one, except
You're
for the
entitled to your
Rosita
opinion, even though it's
Father
wrong.
Gabriel convo.
Good for you for really digging the Oceanside, because most people that I've seen on it, like I would say, I'm sure that there are people like you out there that loved it, but
Yeah, I
the
loved it.
vast majority of folks, I think, just were not digging that Oceanside
Those are
episode.
the only 2 episodes aside from the season premiere that I really dug. This one and Oceanside.
You liked when we first met King Ezekiel. You liked that
I liked that episode too.
You liked that episode.
yeah.
I'll say, because Matt didn't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
not
going to start
forget that.
figuring. There is a method to your madness. I'm going to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like
What
that
about you?
You know what? I'm gonna go about a 6.5. Like
Okay.
I dig the romance
good.
between Rick and Michonne. It's cool. It's great, and I love it being in the show. But like you said, I don't want an entire episode. I just feel like this episode could have been told in like side.
Yeah.
You could have told it in like little 5-minute blocks throughout. Other things happen.
No,
So.
we gotta get 45 minutes worth of show. So let's just throw some crap in there.
This one
Yeah.
really did have a lot of heart.
It had
You
a
can't
lot of
deny
heart,
that.
and I mean, it had good points.
Yeah.
Again, I really like how it was written to where they were blissfully. Well, Michonne was, and Rick still seemed unfazed, but
just
Michonne was
beautiful.
very blissful in the beginning, and by the end, she's writing there really stuck in her thoughts and realizing this probably won't last as far as people die all the time.
I do like the softer side of Michonne.
But again, I don't know. I try to defend it. Usually Matt and I argue because Matt's the one that's like, oh, how long do we need to build up? And I'm like, but it's this time I'm kind of with you. I'm like, look, man, I get we need a build up. Cool. We need character progression. Gotcha. But that don't mean you can't make them just a little more
I needed
edgy.
this whimsical episode. I needed it.
If it's helping you and it's there for you, then you do it. It just wasn't for me.
I don't think I would have been here this
And I'm not
morning
saying
if it wasn't
there's something
nice.
wrong. I think people take opinions and like if you don't agree, they think you're insulting them. If
right.
you love this episode, great for you.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going on a campaign going, we need to eradicate those that like this episode.
Right.
I want it to pick up a little bit. I get next season All Out War is going to probably be balls.
You
to the
keep
wall,
saying that.
but
It better be, man. I hope it is.
if it's anything like the comics, it's going to be hectic. People are going to die.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
It's
If
gonna
next
be,
season is not, if his next season is not great, I will literally spend every waking moment of this podcast talking about anything else. I would never do that to you. I just say that.
okay.
But no, yeah. Next week we have a new person on the podcast. Matt's done.
Matt's out. All right. Well, wow, this is the longest podcast we've had in a while, right? At like 50 something.
And we were
minutes
talking
now.
about
That's
how
how
are we
good
going to
the
find anything to
episode
talk?
was.
Shut up.
It was.
Do what?
I don't
You
know.
don't want to
He
admit
said that's
it,
how
but it
good the
was.
episode was because we talked long about it.
If I didn't believe so much in the freedom of speech, I would cut your mic.
No, you guys just don't want to.
I do believe in the freedom of
no.
speech, but you're wrong.
Exactly. Welcome
You
to the
can't
South.
you can't say those things if I don't think they're true. But they are.
Welcome to not the South. Welcome to America. Sorry.
There you go.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. We appreciate you so much. If you like
Always.
this, hit that subscribe button.
Click it.
Make sure you follow us and
Check out
like us on
Facebook.
Facebook too,
Yeah.
man. Let's get those up so we can do another live podcast. I really enjoyed that.
I need to hear from Amethyst, and we need to find out about the necklace.
Yeah, you
at
haven't
least just
commented
let
the
us
last
know.
few
Yeah, at
episodes.
least just let us know
you're
you
still
got
there.
it.
I don't want to think the walkers got you.
Well, so help me if she came in just to win that. If this was all a ploy just for her to win that necklace, like straight up Ocean's 11 style.
Amethyst, he's
And then
coming
she's
for
gone
you.
from our life. No, don't creep her out.
But that's what you said.
There's two
before we
different.
went.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. See, there's two different.
Right.
Either way, it's bad.
Right.
Sorry.
It's like never mind. I'm not even going to use that example. It's not podcast appropriate. All right. Well, I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Matt.
No, I'm doing it. I'm JP.
You thought I was going to try to trick you this week.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.